everyone. This is Joshua Johnson, and today we're going to go ahead and try out a new segment because I'm unoriginal and shit needs to be done on a good time basis. You needy, hungry individuals, and I must feed you, baby birds. You must be fed, and don't worry, here comes the food. Oh my god! It's Conan Exiles! Now, this new segment is called Review Reviews, where I'm going to be taking a review, mainly about video games, and projecting my thoughts over theirs. And these will only be done with the purest of honesty. Now, there will be reviews of these things later on, especially of Conan Exiles, because that game has taken some time from me and a lot of my friends, and I want all of them here to talk about it with you. The people. Warning! It's gonna be spoilers! Nah! Now I think the complete and total lack of organization has gone on long enough. Let's go ahead and start with this review. Comes to us from IGN.
Author Robert E. Howard's Conan universe is an unforgiving place filled with dangers around every corner. Conan Exiles lives up to that reputation almost too well. It's not just other players and NPCs in the world that make this survival game tough, it's the wolves and giants and other terrors stalking the world around you.
Alright, see, this is going to be thing number one. It is only the other players in Conan Exiles that make life difficult. It is literally a world full of monsters and dungeons and boss fights and lots of grinding. We're talking about, fucking Lil Jon on the radio, people at the fucking just grinding all over each other like animals, just grinding. Full-blown rape train grinding. But you can set up shop anywhere in that game and you're going to be perfectly fine. You can solo play that game and be okay, as long as no one finds out where you live. Now I know what you're thinking. But what if I need to adventure? I need to grow. I need to make my buildings more strong, large, and powerful, and I need to beat this survival game. Well, we're gonna talk about what happens whenever you beat this survival game here in a minute.
And even if you manage to survive all that, a sandstorm or the brutal northern cold might lay you low. However, the most brutal part of this harsh land can be its grind, which means Conan Exiles can sometimes feel more like a chore than a game. Conan Exiles captures the tone of Howard's harsh world right from the start, casting you as a criminal who's crucified and left to die along an aged and broken highway. From there, it sets you loose to explore the exiled lands and carve out your own tales of high adventure.
Completely and totally accurate. I will say right now with the utmost elation that game had one thing it did perfectly. It immersed you. And one thing that I really wish that they would touch on is the fact that there is a climbing aspect in this game. Full-blown Breath of the Wild climbing aspect. You can go anywhere, do anything. The landscapes are beautiful. You can make your own story. And that is something a lot of games claim to do, but fall flat. But Conan Exiles did it perfectly. There's your praise for the day.
The exiled lands are full of varied locations in which to hunt, forage, build, and fight, such as the lush riverlands to the south, the harsh desert in the center of the map, and the brutal heat of the northern volcano. With so many areas to settle and explore, the beautiful landscapes of the exiled lands become a character of their own and beg to be explored fully.
In this game, you will find these big, beautiful landscapes. You will find other players building these monuments or tiny huts or whatever the fuck you want to call it, and you will want, I want to live there. I will destroy that, and that's the nature of the game. That is the essence of Conan. But the issue that this brings about is this is a video game with spawns and special items. There are legendary weapons and things of that nature in the game, and they only spawn out of these little chests that you can open whenever you max your level and kill these gigantic motherfucking creatures. But you can always be a cunt and just build like a small little hut over where the chest spawns. No more chest for you. Josh, you said the nature of the game is just destroy what need to be destroyed, and you can go in there and do it yourself. Well, little autist, I'm gonna let you know right now that there are two top tier forms of construction. You've got your black ice and you've got your stone brick. Both of them ridiculously hard to destroy. Now, there are explosives in the game, there are siege weapons, and honestly, once more, loved that. In theory. In practice, it takes so much goddamn material to build this bomb to do a little bit of damage to this tier 3 structure that you could have a full fucking army of people sitting here blowing shit up, and you can just have somebody on the inside with a hammer just fucking I'm just gonna fix it, and it's you're done. What, you open the chest once and they build back over it again? There are a lot of issues with player mingling that Funcom did not think through whenever they made this game. Yes, I know, and if you don't know, you can summon gods. You have religions, and you can summon these massive gods that can destroy goddamn near anything in most cases. But the problem with that is you can only get those through certain ways that can be blocked off by just building another goddamn fucking hut over where something spawns. And yet again, there you go, it's fucking broken. People farming this. In every server I've played on, there's always the Alpha Clan. You don't fuck with the Alpha Clan. Why don't you fuck with the Alpha Clan? They will wipe and troll you if you try to stand in and delegate with them. They will wipe and troll you. My first server, we had built this big ass tier 1, like kind of like a tiny little fucking village. There was a big wall that we had constructed, a few buildings, a little farm area. It was nice. It was right on the river, and we were about level 30, about halfway. The cap is 60, by the way. And these dudes, 2 dudes, there were 3 of us, 2 dudes, level 60, run in here, blow the shit out of all of it, and then message us to say, oh, hey, by the way, you need to upgrade your stuff. We're sick and tired of seeing tier 1 structures on fucking Noob Beach. I'm like, alright, I'll go ahead and build up to tier 2. Maybe then they'll leave me alone. I go out, I grind forever, building a huge amassment of shit that you need to do, because once more, this game takes grinding to a whole new level, and as somebody that plays JRPGs for fun, I know grinding, and I love it. But at one point, a game becomes a chore. You're not having fun time anymore, you're doing the dishes, which is what you do to play the game. If you're a child, I don't do the dishes. I buy silverware that is plasticware. I buy plates that are styrofoamware, and I throw them out. White privilege. Anyway, off track. So I get all these things to build back up to tier 2, and they come in not even 3 hours later and fucking wreck shit again. And then they go, why haven't you built up to tier 2 yet? And that's when it hits you. And that's why I commented on Autist earlier, which looked kind of like me, but he was totally on that position, and I'm sitting direct camera view, so we're totally different people. Nobody wants to help me with these videos, and I'm starting to understand why.
As with many survival games, you can explore the world either by yourself, which tends to be a dull experience, or you can liven things up with a friend in co-op. That's definitely the way to go if you can. Crafting is essential, and much of the time you spend in Conan Exiles will be simply harvesting resources. One of the first things you'll need to craft is a shelter for protection from the random sand or snowstorms that blow through the map. These structures can be as simple or as elaborate as you want, making it easy to create the fortress or home of your dreams.
Now, there are many roles to fulfill in this game, and the one that I chose was Thief. And something I would like to point out right now to the home that they show there, and I know it's just an example, but for anyone thinking about picking up this game that somehow stumbled onto my shitload 11 subscriber channel and was like, oh, I'll see what this complete and total stranger has to say about it. Always build a roof and never build windows. Because if you keep your shit out in the open like that, people are going to take it. And you notice that, yeah, he had thralls that were sitting around, you know, so if somebody comes by, oh boy howdy, are they going to get worked over? Unless you have a tier 4 thrall, and judging by the equipment that those guys had on, and the fact that, you know, that guy himself had some pretty mid-game equipment, that those were tier 1, maybe 2 thralls, at the max tier 3, still super easy to kill.
But the crafting process itself can feel unnecessarily complex at times, as each recipe or item requires an inordinate amount of materials or refining to create. A simple piece of medium chest armor requires 3 separate crafting stations to complete, and you can spend a full day just gathering resources for some of the more complex recipes, causing the whole process to feel like work. To help with this, capturing and breaking thralls on your Wheel of Pain can provide crafting bonuses such as unlocking certain recipes or lowering the cost of some crafting ingredients. Archers and fighters can also be set up to defend your base from anyone or anything who might attack it, which is especially useful if you're playing on a PvP server.
Something I would like to note, that unless you have maybe a tier 3 or a tier 4 thrall for certain pieces of equipment, it's not really going to be much help. Now I know you're thinking, oh, I'll just go ahead and get a tier 4 or a tier 3 thrall. Fun fact, a tier 4 thrall takes about 24 hours real time to break on a Wheel of Pain. And having a tier 4 Taskmaster, which is what gets equipped to Wheels of Pain, doesn't really shorten that to in a noticeable amount. It still feels like your day is just done.
You'll need to spend time crafting your gear to delve into the many challenging dungeons to earn rewards such as crafting items or recipes. Combat, while serviceable and sometimes enjoyable, feels surprisingly unrefined at times thanks largely to a finicky targeting system and awkward camera. This is felt especially when grouped with other players, with the lock-on oftentimes zeroing in on your friends instead of the enemy by default, with no easy way to change to the correct target. Also, when fighting some of the larger enemies, the camera can sometimes get caught inside a creature, making it hard to move or see. Some of the dungeons are pretty challenging, such as the labyrinthine layout of the Black Keep. Others, disappointingly, are nothing more than a corridor leading to the boss chamber with an uninspired fight awaiting you. But either way, these dungeons are essential to the largely excellent hidden storyline woven throughout the background of Conan Exiles.
Alright everyone, it's spoilers time, so just feel free to plug them, just plug them, don't let the demons in! Now, the whole storyline in Conan Exiles is actually, it's really cool to see something like that with that much thought put into it in a survival game. Was just lovely, and I enjoyed every second of it. It was daunting to complete everything in your quest guide and all of your milestones. It was a pain in the ass, and I loved it. I love banging my head against the wall. But there's just one massive problem, and here it is, end game. In your game of survival and castle or village or whatever you're building, this large monument, fort, farming for all this stuff, this grind, you get a short cutscene of you removing the bracelet that binds you to the exile lands. And then it wipes your character from the server. Congratulations. You have made your endgame reward. I can now uninstall the game.
Conan Exiles is often slow and arduous, but even after 70 hours, 40 since launch, the idea of returning to the exiled lands still holds some allure. Crafting is largely a tedious grind, especially the higher up you get in the crafting tiers, and it's surprising that in a world about brutal combat, Conan Exiles falls flat there. However, the beautifully realized world is a joy to explore, and it nails the atmosphere of the source material. For more on survival games, check out our reviews of The Forest, Subnautica, and Rust. And for everything else, keep it right here on IGN.
All in all, this was a very fair review. The biggest complaint that I had was the fact that the player just it's brutal, and that's Conan to a T, but it makes the game unplayable at a certain point. And if you haven't already been playing the game for hours and you join a server, you could be fucked right out of the gate if the alpha clan on that server just cucks. But if you want to have some fun with your friends, go play the game. I highly encourage it. I think my friends and I spent well over 250 hours easy, and that's me being very generous. Anyway, thank you all so very much for taking your time to watch me talk about video games alone in my house. Subscribe to IGN. If all the reviews are similar to this, I mean, come on, they've been fair enough. They'll never be bought out. Feel free to subscribe to me, leave a comment, tell me how shitty I did, and if I did so shitty you want to see some more shitty shit, then go ahead and click the subscribe button. Have a wonderful evening.